Alright, here we go. So now after the first video, if you saw that one, which I hope you did, it will give this video much more context. After the recording, you saw in the first video you could do it anywhere. I did it in a room that was absolutely reverbed out of its mind, damn near empty, vocals bouncing all over the walls, and this is basically the finished product. Before we get fully started, just some of what's going on here, the layout. Alright, so this mix is basically done. This is a done mix. And what I'm just going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just turn everything off. And then everything's off. So now it's like if it's just dry. And these are the same exact vocals, no bait and switch. It's the same exact vocals. Well, in the last recording, which you saw, I kept it, and even especially this, the beginning.
Problematic. What the fuck? It's automatic.
Like, are you kidding me? Are you hearing that?
Been a long time.
That sounds like it has something on it. You see it right here.
Been a long time.
Dry. That sounds like it has.
I said,
if you could see that, yeah, I even say it in the other video. Look how much reverb that has.
Problematic. What the fuck? It's automatic.
That sounds like it has a plugin, but you clearly see they're off. Clearly see they're completely off. This is the plugin. Like I ended up using a Manny and Reverb. And look, I used kind of, so I did wet it up a bit too. But nevertheless, that initial reverb, some might see it as a problem, and you'll see that you could use it to your advantage or just work through it. You don't need to have these sound booths or whatever, although that does help out, and it does make a sound much more dry, and you'll be able to manipulate it more. This video is mostly just for the average home recorder who just wants to record something at home, and you can just see how raw that last video was and what I'm going to work with here. So we go to further in the vocals and just show you this all dry. You're seeing it right here. It's all dry.
It's been a long time since I seen LA. Beach a few miles away. I got caught up with lust. Countless nuts that I had to bust till I was satisfied and free.
That's dry, man. And the only other thing, and I just want to point all these things out so it's not out of context, is that I lowered everything. Everything's already lowered in the sense of its levels as far as volume. The reason for that is because I want this video to mostly be for a mix that's going to be ready for mastering. And right here, if you look at your outputs, if I were to just let everything go, I mean, you can kind of see it right here. It's maxing out at about -7, and I think with everything, it maxes out at about -6 decibels. And that's about the range you want to be at when you're sending something off to mastering. I've seen some of my mixes go up to like -4.3, but that's about as high as I'm willing to let them. And the only reason I even let it go at that point is because I like the way it sounds. I'm not gonna change everything up just for some decibels here. It's not religious, but it is something to aim for. A lot of these things will clip otherwise, and it goes to the same thing. You don't want a clipping mix, because then you give the mastering process no chance to happen. You can't make it as loud as you want anymore. And it's just a disaster for whoever is doing it. Whether you're sending it off to me, or you're sending it off to someone else, or you're going to do it yourself, what have you, it's better to just have the cleanest mix possible. And that's what I'm going to try to show you here today, and even with what we're working with, mind you. The mixing process is important for the mastering process, so the mastering process is seamless. So if you have a shitty mixing process, then you're going to have a shitty time mastering. It's not impossible. They call it polishing the turd. You can send a turd in and we can try to polish that thing, but it's about sending in a solid mix that's easier to work with, basically, just at the end of the day. So this is the layout. It's the same thing before. The only thing that I didn't do in the last video is probably the last tail end of the vocals, and this down here, which is all the ad-libs, or dubs as I call them. You see, I just put dubs here. And that's another thing. I'm going to quickly just walk through this part of the setup. It's important to set this up just to be neat with your mix. Instrumental, obviously the instrumental, lead vocals, these are all the lead vocals, 1, 2, 3, and the dubs. Pretty simple, pretty neat. You know, and obviously there's going to be some projects where you're going to have a gang of stems, so, or tracks, however you want to refer to them. So it's always best just to be nice and neat. It's so simple to do and so quick that why skip that? Just be nice and neat, label each one, and you could easily find them, especially when you're in the 20s and have a, you know, especially if you're doing other genres like rock and you have the other instruments, you're gonna need that. So that might seem like something that's like duh, but Some people don't do it. They leave it track. You know, you wouldn't believe how many I've had. I've taken in. They just as tracks. It's like I gotta look through them and see what's this one. What's this? So yeah, do that, and it helps the people that are gonna work on your music too. So and then another thing I do, I'm just gonna walk through the little things. I feel like this is important. I like chopping it up completely. Like this is the type of work I do, and there's like the labor of love in a way. I chop up every little part. Look at that, and I even crossfade it. I don't know, that's too crazy. You know, to some it might be like, what in the hell? But that's just how I do it, and it ends up looking really neat at the end of the day. And that's not the only reason I do it, just so it could look neat. It just sounds, I don't know, I hear the differences. Sometimes when you go in there and you're chopping clips and you don't do this little crossfade here, you can hear that pop when it comes in. And you're wondering why your thing's popping, or I just want it, like I said, as clean as of a mix as I can possibly get. So, what do I do first when I really open up a mix? When I open up a mix, I do all of that I just mentioned, label, check all these things. And the part that I didn't show here, which would have been, I don't know why I would even show it because it's just so tedious, is that all those points, it was slightly mentioned in the last video, but you're going to overlap tracks. Like for instance, I could do this real quick. I'm going to show you right here.
Camino, I gotta restart. All I need is a scene.
You see right there? I'm about to end this part, right? I'm about to come to an end where I either ran out of breath or I chose to stop there. And I'm going to stop, and it actually goes on. Look. But look, I do. Yeah, I actually stop there. So in those parts, in the last track, so this could touch in and tie into the last video. You can see I usually start before, and like I say, if you're used to this, you already know this. But for the rookie, like these are pointers that, and some people might not even know this if you're just getting into this. You might think people just keep going for their whole verse. You know what I mean? And no, it's chopped up. It's just that's how you make it clean though. So you see, it might come in like this. Look, and hopefully it doesn't sound too loud or overbearing. So I might actually. Where is this at? -7. I'm actually just going a little lower just to
start. All I need is a C-note to knock it out of the park like the great Bambino. But it's been a long time. Oh, it's been a long time since I broke out, packed up and left. Been a long time since I left the West, oh.
And mind you, this is all dry right now. This is completely dry. And let's go here. Yeah, I'm gonna put it back how it was. I don't want to ruin anything. Leave everything how it was. It's already done. So that's the first part that I didn't show, the cleanup basically. That's the labor of love, man. And even when you're working on somebody else's, if they send it in like that, it is what it is, man. But if you can do this, that would be great. It'll save a lot of time. Just go in there, delete what you don't want, and send it in nice and clean for the mastering. Remember, the emphasis on this is get it ready for mastering. So you're obviously going to do all those parts until it's all seamless. That's why I like crossfading too, because you could crossfade right into each other. And if I were to go to this part, for instance, and then just mute the instrumental, look how seamless this is. It's almost like it's I hope. Let's see. I'm a bank on myself here. It's just sound like it's the same recording.
That's on the dash, mob it down to 15.
See that's two different recordings. But when you match it up nicely, especially, I bet you I started before it. Yes, I did. So you see, you're saying it with it, and then it just matches up with it nicely. Look, I'm gonna show you it with it.
The little hula dancer on the dash, mob it down to 15.
So you see, that's with it. And you take it off, and you're able to crossfade it at the right points. Look, crossfaded nicely right there, crossfaded, and then it just sounds seamless.
Little hula dancer on the dash, mob it down to 15.
And look, even delete the dubs out of there to really emphasize it.
Little hula dancer on the dash, mob it down to 15.
Look at that, seamless. You don't even know.
On the dash, mob it down to 15.
See, that's the way it's supposed to sound. That's a clean. You see, that's part of starting a clean mix. We haven't even gotten to the plugins yet. So these are just things to do to make your mix as clean as possible. And just get all that stuff done. And that's the labor of love you want to do. If anything, if you don't want to do your own mix, you should, and you're going to send off the mix as well, you should still do this. Just so it's easier on the mix, on the engineer, whoever you're going to do it, because I mix as well. So if you want to send it to me, I would appreciate it done like this. And then I just get straight into the plugins and whatnot. And then straight into mastering. So this is all that stuff you got to do. And then, of course, you got your instrumental. And what I usually do in the beginning is maybe do some leveling. Basically get to a point, if you notice, I didn't lower the beat the same amount as the vocals. So obviously the beat was much louder than the vocals were. So that's that type of balancing I'm talking about. Like say let's just put them at the same amount. Like I'm going to put them at 10. Just so we go lower instead of higher. Because I think the level right now for you guys to hear. So 10.2 on that one. And let's put the level at 10.2. That would be as if they just started on the same thing. Like if we just completely dry and just started the project. So if you're doing this, look at this.
Oh, it's been a long time since I broke out, packed up and left.
Honestly, not as bad as I thought. Honestly, not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. But nevertheless, I still feel like the beat is the thing that's louder. So that's why the vocals gotta come up. This was at 7.4. I believe it was at 7. So yeah, once you get that leveling done, then you can really get into the plugins. And let's dive into what kind of plugins we got here. So once you get some sort of relativity between your vocals and your beat, then you can really get started on where the plugins in. And if anything, if you don't find it then, so maybe that's what I'm hearing here, because maybe I started hearing it once I put the compression on. That's what made me differentiate them so much. Because you'd think they just go down the same amount. But no, obviously the beat ended up being a little stronger in that battle. So let's see here what I did with this. Because I already completed this and I also already got it mastered. It's just not released yet. So for the vocals, what we have here is a compressor. And let's see what that compressor does to the vocals for the main part. And let's put it solo.
Beach a few miles away, I got caught up with lust.
So that's with it off. And let's do it with it on.
Countless.
And let's actually do the other part. I keep playing that same part. So let's play
this. Big dog in it, OG scented, eyes all squinted. Man, it's been a long time. Oh, it's been a long time since I broke out, packed up and left. Been a long time since I left the West.
And I'm not gonna change any of this. I trust in what I did before. I'm just kind of just showing you guys. And let's just see how it sounds. That sounds against the beat.
Man, it's been a long time. Oh, it's been a long time since I broke out, packed up and left. Been a long time.
That's with it off.
Since I left the West, oh, yeah, it's been a long time. Oh, it's been a long time.
So that's a way to mix. That's really truly a way to mix. I used the loudness of the vocals, so that's why I went up with it, 3 decibels up. And then you use the compression to kind of mesh it in there. Instead of bringing the vocals down to a level that are equal, and then you're going to start stacking plugins on it, and then it's going to drown in the beat. Instead of getting equal to that beat and then drowning it, you go kind of above. You put that vocal right at the forefront, and you use the plugins to start carving away at it. As I'm doing this, I'm remembering what I did, especially with how that room was, with all that reverb bouncing back into the mic. This is where you use compression as almost a tool and a weapon at the same time, because you're going to use it as a tool always, but you use it also as a weapon to, like, all right, I'm going to combat all that extra, probably overbearing, slicey sound and kind of compress it down into the beat. And you can see how that does fit into there. Look, with and without it. When this is, you know, obviously not lit, it's off, and when it's on, it's on.
In blue flash, watch the speed limit, don't go too fast. Got the windows tinted, big dog in it, OG scented, eyes all squinted. Man, it's been a long time. Oh, it's been a long time.
That sounds pretty good right there. And this is with the ad-libs off. I got the ad-libs off here, and it's just the pure vocal here. So now we go to the EQ. Okay, so we got some EQ on here. Oh, look, and I kept it pretty simple. You see some people really carving into the EQ. But I feel like that, I mean, sometimes necessary, but if you are having to carve it, I just feel there's something that went wrong in the recording process. And remember, I'm going to keep reminding this throughout the video. We record, I mean, I recorded in like, as bad as it could get. I mean, it could probably get worse in a bathroom maybe, or some, you know, in a factory. I don't know. It's obviously outside maybe, you know, this place it could get worse where it's windy and stuff like that. But yeah, as you can see, I didn't really do much. Just kind of, there it is. So you turn this analyzer on. And you start seeing where there's some spikes. You see, and if you notice where I've lowered it,
since I felt this,
see there's a spike right there. So you kind of just, those are the spikes that kind of slice through the beat. And whenever you're hearing a certain song, it spikes through, or there's a part where it makes you like not cringe that it was what they said. It's just the sound. It made you, it kind of hurt the ears, and that's where you're kind of dancing on with a mix. You're dancing on the edge of getting the sound you want, but not going for the because that's what the mastering process is for. That's where you go for that overall full-on bright shining star sound. Right here, what you're really trying to go for is your creative sound, of course, with how much reverb and so on and so forth, and of course just meshing that thing in there, whatever it is, the vocals, wherever needs meshing. You don't want to get too excited or too, you know, jabby. Like, you don't want to go like dude stabbing like this. I mean, if it, like I said, if it has to, it has to. But by then, like I said, that there's something that went wrong somewhere else maybe. And yeah, look, not even the 1.5 here, too. Barely. And this is a main thing that people do not, I swear, I didn't do this for so long. This part right here.
It's free, going back home to see if it's meant to be.
You don't need any of that. See all that right there? That's just like breath slash undertones of just frequency that's bouncing off the wall. It's stuff that's not even really natural to your voice unless you have a Barry White type of oh baby, you know, yeah, my darling. Now I'm sure this will be climbing up. You want to keep a lot of that, you know. So you obviously, where am I at right now? 81. You'd obviously want to be more over here with that. You want to keep that. So it's all on the vocal, obviously. But me, not much is going on here, and it only goes up for look. Let's see what it really goes up for. You want to examine these things. You want to wonder what's happening.
Scented, eyes all squinted. Man, it's been a long time.
not going
Oh,
up.
it's been a long time since I broke out.
So you see what bro, probably that bro really bounced off the walls and made a oh, and plus the fact that bottom come in. So it's not really that important. I don't need bro emphasizing and crashing into my bass. You got to think of it like that. You got to really think of a setup of how these sounds are crashing into each other. I'm using the word crashing for lack of a better term, but you really want to know what's happening. You can't just guess and be like, I'm gonna lower this, I'm gonna lower that. I'm just gonna do what I saw in this video. It's all about listening. So I do this in the sense of listening. I see there's nothing going on, and I also know. So I almost always do this, but it's about the level, how much. There's other vocals where my voice may be a little deeper. I'm utilizing that part of my vocal. There's vocals where my voice are higher. So you use it, but this is very important for the overall mix because you give more space for your bass. I'm not trying to rhyme there, but it's the truth. You give more space for your bass. All right? Coin that phrase right there. That's all me. Space for your bass right there with your vocals. So you saw how simple that is. Let's see how it sounds. Let's see what it sounds with it off.
The cash police trying to get me, red and blue flash. Watch the speed limit, don't go too fast. Got the windows tinted, big dog.
So if you can't hear that, if you don't have headphones on, but it's so subtle, but it's cleaner. It's amazing that these are the little steps you got to take to really get a clean mix and really see as I toggle it on and off. Just check it out.
In it, OG scented, eyes all squinted. Man, it's been a long time. Oh, it's been a long time since I broke out, packed up and left. Been a long time since I left the West. Oh, yeah, it's been a long.
You see, it takes a lot of that bass from the echo, from the reverb of the room out of there, and it really takes it out of play and just gives for a solid. I really wonder what I did with the reverb, man, because it's been a while since I opened this one up. I'm doing it for the sake of this video to show you a pretty great example of a recording that no sound padding and no insulation and what you can really do with it. So there it is. We got so far our EQ and some compression on there, and the order of them is also important. You always want to go with your, at least for me, I'm not going to say this is religious or this is how, you know, but in my opinion, you go with that compression first, then the EQ. Reason being is you want to compress the entirety of the sound first, because then if you do this EQ first, you might want to change that in the future. So say you end up taking off a little bit of this right here. Now that compression is completely different according to what you just did. This compression was compressing, you know, the vocals that you did at 81. So if you would have put the EQ in the first in the line and did 81 and then changed it, now that you see, it's just better to compress the whole thing as it is, and then you change it up, because now you're EQing a compressed sound, and that also leads to why it's so minimal, because now you're just not EQing this whole uncompressed audio, and that's why probably people jab it so much, because they're EQing this raw sound. It's like, dude, compress it first, and then you'll see where the real problems are at. So that's just my opinion how I would do it. And let's go to the reverb. So reverb is basically what's already on the vocals due to the room. As you can see here, look at the options. Hall, room, look, there's literally room as one of the chamber, plate, space, ambience. And on your own time, obviously, you could choose and see what they all do. But all they do is basically just a different ambience to your sound, as if you are in these places, a hall, a room, and if you imagine walking into a big church, all that bouncing back at you, and that's why it sounds so big. And this is just controlling the levels of it. You know, I'm just speaking if anybody hasn't really, you know, messed with these type of plugins. But if you have, you obviously know what this is and what this does. Let's just see what we did here. Let's listen to the rest of it. So actually go to another part. Let's hear.
It's not always what you get. A solid 3 dressed up as a 10. I fell for that trick first time I left. Fancy Las Vegas had me placing bets, then I crapped out. What a madhouse.
So you see, I got it really going. Let's go right here, bro. Let's see.
Just on your way there, make sure to have some fun, cause nothing like a life with all work and no play. You've got to fight the fight to make things go your way. Act like it's already in the bag, it happened already.
So let's see how that sounds against the track. Let's go right here.
Well, the results are soon to come. Just on your way there, make sure to have some fun. Cause nothing like a life without work.
So you see right here is going to be without the reverb.
Work and no play, you got to fight the fight to make things go your way. Act like it's already in the bag. It happened already, you're just living in the lag.
And with it.
As show as ladies, old titties gon' sag. You're gonna lay it down in the sit.
Alright, let's see.
Well, the results are soon to come. Just on your way there, make sure to have some fun. Cause nothing like a life without work and no play. You got to fight the fight to make things go your way.
So remember, the point of what I'm trying to do here and the aim of what's going on here is only if I could, like, I don't know if you ever carved some wood or, you know, like when you're sanding a car down for paint or sanding anything, if you're trying to sand something down to a smooth finish. That's what I'm doing here. So picture me adjusting all these knobs. I would love to do it, but then this video would be like, who knows how long. It would be another 30 minutes longer. So this is one thing I want to point out with reverb though. That's a big thing to me. And even in EQ, once again, similar to that EQ thing that I told you about, making space for the bass, also with the reverb. So the same way it did it almost in the natural reverb with this EQ, or that's the compressor, the EQ right here. See how we took it off right here? Same thing you want to do here. Picture that happening here. Because when you leave too much of this, it tends to make your vocals muddy and it crashes into the bass and the low mids, and it messes with the fluidity and the clearness of the mix. So you got to be mindful of that. And notice how I kind of leave this because this is mostly where the vocals dwell. The mids to the mid highs and some highs. And also look, it has a compressor here, so obviously still use that as well. And you got to picture me doing that. Look, I even go by points. You see how it's not 16 exactly, it was 16.2. There's sometimes little points, you got to just be polished. You got to picture you're polishing that. And picture if I was at 16 or what have you, and that 0.2 was that last stroke. I was right here at 16, and I could even go up and down with my touch key, like if you have a mouse, you scroll. And I scrolled one, I didn't like that, and then scrolled two, boom, or scrolled, you know, to 16.2. And that was the sweet spot. Like if I just smoothed it out, I was able to rub my hand across and be like, yup, that's it. And this would be it. So look, now we got all three of the plugins stacked. Compressor, EQ, and our reverb. And look about how the wetness, I got about 32. And all together they sound like.
Hey, act like it's already in the bag. It happened already, you're just living in the lag. As show as ladies, old titties gon' sag. You're gonna lay it down and
Go right here.
well, the results are soon to come. Just on your way there, make sure to have some fun. Cause nothing like a life without work and no play. You got to fight the fight to make things go your way. Act like it's already in the bag. It happened already, you're just living in the lag.
So you see without it how it sounds? And let's go back to the beginning, around the beginning right here. Probably right here.
Blue flash, watch the speed limit, don't go too fast. Got the windows tinted.
And let me just add them one at a time and you'll see the difference. First with the compressor and then with everything else.
Big dog in it, OG scented, eyes all squinted. Man, it's been a long time. Oh, it's been a long time since I broke out, packed up and left. Been a long time since I left the West. Oh, yeah, it's been a long time. Oh, it's been a long time. Been a long time since I felt this free. Going back home to see if it's meant to be.
So you see, it's in there. It's like so, like it's one with the beat. It's part of the instruments. And hearing that, you might actually think it's a little low. But with this particular mix, since it's so many raw instruments, I usually work with hip hop or whatever, a lot of MIDI instruments. These are real instruments on this track, and we could quickly solo it. See, those are all real bona fide instruments. So I really wanted those to shine. I really wanted those to be like, I wanted to be engulfed in them. So what I pictured in this mix, you gotta have like a picture. I pictured my vocals like really surrounded by them. Like if I was on a stage, these vocals are, I mean, these instruments are like surrounding me, almost to like a closed circle. And the only part there where it's open is where it leads off into the audience, or it opens up. That's what I'm picturing. And that's also where the mastering process comes in. In the mastering process, I'm gonna be able to bring those out. So there we have it. Let's just go to a spot here.
But it's been a long time. Oh, it's been a long time since I broke out, packed up since I left.
So stubborn, dude. I'm gonna reopen it. And I just want to see if I was right. I was right. You see, they were at 7. I just wanted to check that. I don't know. I was just stubborn about it. So now where were we? So look, once I get to this part, I'm about here, right? So
Oh, it's been a long time since I broke out, packed up and left. Been a long time since I left the West, though.
so imagine that came from being dry to that. And that sounds pretty solid, like right there, man. But obviously, and I forgot what part it was. 'Cause I remember this. I do remember why I put this. I don't always use a de-esser, but I think it was on El Camino. It wasn't even an actual S.
Changing me Camino. I
Right
gotta
here.
restart. All I need is a C-note to knock it out of the park, like the great Bambino.
And I think it was right here. You could even zoom in on this. So now you can see the wave. Where is it?
Start. All I need is a C-note to knock it broke. Trying to change up me Camino. I gotta restart.
It was around here, man. I can't pinpoint exactly, and maybe one other part, but there was a spike in the high range because DS, or even though it does DS whenever you have an S or a really spiky sound like that, and that'll also, I could use the EQ to reference that. It's usually in this range or even as high as this. So that's what that de-esser kind of does. And let's see what range does it say a range as far as. Oh yes, you see 13. Look, where did I pick? Up just about the 14,000 range. So that means I de-esser right here, and let's see what it is. Let's go to that part. So that's the 14 range, about what? So look, about right here, dude. Boom, right there. So this is where that sounds. So let's see what happens.
Trying to change up me Camino. I gotta restart. All I need is a C-note to knock
So you see it's spiking up right here.
it out of the park, like the great Bambino.
So you see that? Probably was that right there. Just that little spike, man. And that's what caused me to put in a de-esser. Because just those little spikes could cause, especially when you get into the louder ranges. And you see, if you saw that video, you saw I get up on the mic and I let it rip. So when you're performing like that on the mic, you really got to calculate for that during the mix because it could ruin your mix. And there's been times where I gotta connect the mic back, man. You know, gotta re-record that verse, though. So it is what it is when you gotta do what you gotta do. So let's see how it sounds with it. I mean, without it.
Trying to change up me Camino. I gotta restart. All I need is a C-note.
So let's see. Let's throw it on there and do that part again.
Tattered and broke, trying to change up me Camino. I gotta restart, all I need is a C-note. Change up me Camino, I gotta restart, all I need is a C-note. All I need is a C-note.
Oh, way cleaner, huh? What do you think?
To knock it out of the park, all I need is a C-note. Restart, all I need is a C-note. I gotta restart, all I need is a C-note.
Oh, baby. Subtleties, I'm telling you, man. It's so subtle, especially with headphones. If you could really hear that, you'll see that you're really taking off these spikes that, especially in the mastering process, like the loudness wars are for the most part, I think, over in a sense. But nevertheless, you still want your music as loud as possible. That's what at least my style of mastering is, getting the music as loud as possible without sacrificing the sonic qualities, of course. So that's where I give up the loudness war. I'm not gonna smash and mash a song in the name of getting a few more decibels. That doesn't make sense to me. So with that being said, you're still going pretty up there with some of these songs. So any spikes and things you can get rid of now, by all means, get rid of them now. Then we get to the dubs. And for the dubs, if I'm not mistaken, I think I put exactly what I did on the other one. So let's see here. It's about at threshold, yeah, 9.7. Let's see this one. Oh, so you see, I actually just threw a little more on there. And I obviously lowered them way more. So you see they're at 13.6 while the beat's at 10.2 because you want them really lower, and the vocals are way, down. I mean, way up at -7. So remember, it's everything backwards right here because we're in the negatives. So you put these ad libs and these, or I call them dubs. Oh shit, they're no longer named anymore. But I could do that real quick just to instrumental. All right, cool. Now we're back to how we were. So like I said, you keep the dubs a little lower than the vocals, or a lot, you balance that out as you go. Because you don't want them, because this is the sound that can happen if you keep the dubs the same. Yeah, these are coming out a lot. So let's just solo this with this. And let's put them the same. Let's put this one at 7.
If you ain't got the cheddar, living dirty in Sin City. I had to pay the piper, know you better. Accepting collateral if you ain't got the cheddar. I broke out from the strippers and casinos, tattered and broke, trying to change up me Camino. I gotta restart, all I need is a C-note to knock it out of the park, like the great Bambino. But it's been a long time, oh it's been a long time since I broke out, packed up and left. Been a long time since I left the West, oh yeah, it's been a long time, oh it's been a long time.
So you see right there is where you really catch that they're a little bit too loud. They're overbearing a bit. So I forgot where the hell these were, man, but I'm just going to guess they're the same as this one. Or are they less? I have no clue, dude. We're going to have to do it again. I just wanted it to be how it was. Or were they? No, they weren't, you see? That's why I didn't want to put them. I wanted it to be... There you go. So they were at 12. Dubs 3. All right, cool. All right, we're back in business. So after you got all of that set up, man, and you got all of this, you want to check your levels, bro. Oh, actually, whoa, 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 whoa. We're forgetting one thing. The beat. This is the last thing that was off. And the beat, for the most part, I do it last because I want to get those vocals so good, man. So good. So once I do that thing that I was telling you about where you're just like polishing it down and you get those vocals right tucked into that beat, now you got to wrap that beat around those vocals. And then so we go to the EQ here. And you see all I did was give it some bass because apparently this song, without it, look, we're going to take it off. And that's where the bass starts right here. It starts about, oh, it starts right here. There you go. See that bass? So for me, I guess that wasn't enough, dog. So I said, here you go. Oh yeah. That's about the only thing I did. Look at that. So that's the power. That's basically the only thing I did. That's dope because that's the power of having live instruments, man. Because the placement of them are just perfectly done with a lot of hip hop beats. For the most part, a lot of the instruments are kind of just all scattered around the middle, maybe panned to like 20 at most, if that. You know, because all the sampling that's done, and some even when it's not sampling, they just don't really space them out. And in other genres like rock and roll and alternative and all these other, you know, more instrument-based genres, they're really spacing those instruments out. Like you see some of these guitars put all the way to like 50 and 50 to the left, 50 to the right, and the rhythm guitar here, and then the bass jab in the middle along with the vocals. And since they're differentiating frequencies, they're not going to crash into each other. So this is a lot of space, and that's why a lot of these songs are so clear. Like the clarity in a lot of these rock songs is amazing as well because of that. And to achieve that, you got to be able to space out and do that. So this beat already did that for me because it was provided to me, and it really makes a mix much more easier to get to a clean and solid, you know, level because of that. Because you're able to really tuck that vocal in there. It's just that with that being said, it's still a lot of instruments. It doesn't make it exactly easy. It just helps with it. Because when they're all in the middle, is now you just gotta damn near move heaven and earth to not only get the vocals right, but not smush out whatever is right there in the same realm as the vocals. Frequencies matter in the sense of you want to keep that vocal there, but if there's already 20 odd instruments where the vocal would be sitting, how on earth are you ever going to have a clear vocal? Like, you just got to remember that at all times if you're ever running into problems. So then we got the spread. We got a spread. So this, I'm going to be completely honest to you. I damn near got lucky with this one because I was just trying to find this thing that would really give that feeling of wrapping around the vocals. Like, I couldn't really find that thing. And even though if you hear it right here, like we're going to play it, let's play it around here. I think I got everything turned on, yeah. Let's play it like right here.
But it's been a long time, oh it's been a long time since I broke out, packed up and left. Been a long time since I left the West, oh.
That's not too bad. Like, it seems pretty good. But let's see what this does. You know, let's go ahead and turn it on in the middle of it. I'm going to leave it off for now, then I'm going to turn it on right as it's playing.
Been a long time since I felt the spree, going back home with a new version of me, and I got it all unlocked. I got it planned now, do what I gotta do just to be the man now. Start the car like a cigarette, driving down the highway like I'm on a movie set. No money, full tank of gas, bag of weed, LA, I'm coming for.
Well, I'm hearing the headphones, so I'm hearing what it's doing, and it's once again another subtlety, but that really brings it, man. You could almost say it doesn't need it. But when you turn it on, it does give it, it literally does what it says. It like just spreads it out just that much more. It makes it just, when you feel the vocals are like getting a little wider, as far as the frequency, or not the frequency, the reverb goes, it's like this beats it to it. It says, nope, I'm the biggest bird. You know what I mean? Like, nope, I'm here. And look at the frequency I chose for this specific spread. Now, this is a cheat code, man. I don't like going for this all the time, but when you got to do what you got to do, you got to run into plugins like this. That's why I have so many. If I could open this up real quick. And I might not even use a lot of these. I got Isotope, beautiful, beautiful set of programs they have, or plugins. I mean, and then we got all the waves, baby. It's a very, very worthy investment, because it's like having tools to like do a job, or this carpentry, or work on a vehicle. It's just good to have the tools. You never know when you might need that one tool, and oh, I need that one. I need that. Oh, do I have this? Oh, I happen to have that tool. So it's just good. The one tool that I don't have, and if you notice throughout this whole mix, I'm gonna go ahead and put this down real quick. I'll get back to this. Is no auto tune. No auto tune. I take pride in that, and this ain't me tooting my horn saying that I'm such a great singer. I just feel like it's good enough to move forward with the direction of the song. It's a pretty raunchy song in the sense of the lyric, but I'm talking about a certain thing. It's LA. I don't know, from the genesis of me hearing hip hop, it's just always been rough and rugged. And when auto-tune hit all this, and there's nothing against it, it achieves a new sound. Lil Wayne, one of the best rappers of all time, used it. I mean, T-Pain did his thing with it, but I just feel it just took this route that, you see, I don't want to get into judgmental places. I just don't really use it. I don't even have it as a plugin. But if needed, I have access to it. I just don't have it as my plugins. There's literally, kind of no reason for me to have it personally, but except to when I work on other people's music. And that's when I download it and put it in. But that's something I try to avoid, me personally. But nevertheless, I know it's the sound of nowadays. But I just don't use that, because I feel like if you need auto-tune, then that means you need a retake. That's just my opinion, personally. In hip-hop, I feel like nowadays we just really need to be just showing that lyricism back. Like, what are you saying? That's what's more important to me. Anyway, I digress completely away from this video and what I'm talking about. So that spread really did just that, spread. And as you see, the frequencies that I chose, it's affecting the area where the vocals are. And that's what I kind of really wanted. Like, when I think about rapping, when I say that, when I want to rap, you're thinking about the vocals, obviously, because everything else is pretty well done. The layout of those instruments. They just have to be good now relative to your voice. And that's what I use this tool for. And what do we have? We got a final product that we want to take it from the top.
Oh, let's do this shit. Oh, let's motherfucking do this shit. God damn it. Get it. Problematic. What the fuck? It's automatic. Yeah. Been a long time. Yeah. Been a long time. Yeah. I said, it's been a long time since I seen LA. It's been a long time since I seen LA. Beach a few miles away. I got caught up with lust. Countless nuts that I had to bust till I was satisfied and free. Temptation burned me in the third degree till it caught up with me. Found me living dirty in Sin City. I had to pay the piper, know you better. Accepting collateral if you ain't got the cheddar. I broke out from the strippers and casinos, tattered and broke, trying to change up me Camino. I gotta restart. All I need is a C-note to knock it out of the park, like the great Bambino. But it's been a long time. Oh, it's been a long time since I broke out, packed up and left. Been a long time since I left the West, oh.
All right, and I really played that first verse because that's the actual verse you see me record in the last video. This is the exact same one, no bait and switch or any of that. It's the exact same verse that you see in the last video. And then the other ones might be different because you see me take takes, and I don't think I showed the tail end of the final takes in the last one. So but this one is on there, and I did it all in that session, and these are the same thing. I even did the ad-libs that day. I just didn't record that part because, look, as you can see, I did 3 tracks. And then to quickly mention that, when I do ad-libs, so maybe tie in more to that that recording video, is I just let it play through. I just start from the top and just have fun with it all the way through, and then of course do the labor of love, chop out all the stuff you don't want, you don't need. Because if you look in a lot of these, look, there's much more to it. Or not this one. Wow, that was much more to that one. Oh, you see, there it is. There it is. You look how much more I'm doing. I'm basically saying almost like word for word in a lot of these, and just to add more depth to it, I choose the parts I like. And look, in this one especially, look, I kept a lot of it. You see that? I didn't chop off too much of it. Those are parts where maybe I stumbled or I coughed I just got a message. Oh shit. Yeah, you got a massage. I mean a message. And yeah, so as you can see, it's not too bad to get it from what you saw in the last video, recording in a room full of reverb, and getting it to this point, doing the labor of love and chopping it all up and labeling your tracks and getting set up. And look how many plugins it takes. In reality, man, if you really got it, this is just me. Like if you gotta rely on auto tune, I mean by all means, that's the sound you're going for. But I feel like in a new era, we need to bring back music and just the true sound. Before you know it, especially with AI coming through, there's gonna be a day where we yearn for a real human voice, and because it's all gonna be hidden by AI and all these things, and that's just my opinion. So hear what you're hearing. You saw what I put on it, on these vocals and how it sounds, and eventually I will release the finished product. As I mentioned in the last video, it's just the beat doesn't exactly belong to me. I know it's a weird thing. I just don't want to be look snaky or anything like that, and not release a song that's not mine. But yeah, I already got it mastered. And speaking of mastering, this is the final of anything step. This is the truly most important step before you send it off to mastering. This is where you're truly done. Is that you play it, right? You play it.
Since I seen
And
that
you look at you look at right here, because this one's not moving. So you look at the one that moves. Usually it would be this, but this one's not displaying a meter. Right? That is the master sound. You would control the master of this whole thing with this master sound and with this one, honestly. But you're looking at this one for this reason right here. And this is Logic Pro X, by the way. I haven't mentioned it, but it's obvious, you know, you've seen it. But every DAW has this. Every digital audio workstation has this. It's the meter. It shows you if it's clipping or not. And clipping basically means when it's jabbing this here. Let me show you.
2 miles away. I got
See, when it's jabbing that thing up there, it didn't even reach yet. It's negative 0.6. Clipping is when you hit that 0 mark and it's red. You don't want that at all. You know? So when you're sending in a song for mastering, usually if you just did all these things and you got to a point where you like it, and then you play it and this says something like missing that negative mark, of course. It says something like 5 or 6 or something like it's a 7. But it's just without the negative mark, it's just even anything showing in orange and red. That means you're clipping by that many decibels. And sometimes it even stops showing the real amount. It could just stop at 8 and you're really clipping by even more. But if you're even getting it that loud, I mean, holy crap. You should check some of your stems or some of your tracks and make sure you don't need to re-record anything, because you should really avoid clipping at all costs. And I talk about that in the recording process, where you mess with the gain, which is the incoming signal when you're recording. That's what you want to mess with. So it comes in as a softer signal, and you saw how close I get to that mic and how loud I'm being, and it still came in with viable signals that zoom into a lot of these. Look at that. Look at that. Like, look at that. That's even when I get the loudest, and you're still barely seeing it, maybe clapping the ceiling a little bit, but that's where the compression comes in. You know, it's not just a wall of sound, just like clipping its ass off. No, that's definitely what you not want, because you still want that spikiness, man. That's what hits. That's what tickles the ears. So you see, look at this beat. It has all the spiky points. That's what makes music. Those are those things that, you know, if it was too dull, you wouldn't. You know, that's why I'm very aggressive. You know, and on point on the mic. It's only gonna be one time I'm gonna get on that mic, so might as well make it worth it and let loose. That's just my approach. And what else here? Oh yeah, so to the levels. When they're over that much, that means you got to go down by that much. So looking at what I did here, like I went down 10 here, I went down 7. So that means I was probably, let's see where I'm at.
caught up with lust, countless nuts that I had to bust till I was satisfied and free. Temptation burned me in the 3rd degree. Oh, it's been a long time since I broke out.
All right, I was waiting for the loudest part, and like I said, look, like right on the money. Like I said, about negative 4.3 is as high as you want to go. Because remember, we're in the negative, so this is getting higher as it gets quote unquote lower. You know, negative 4.3 is louder than it was. So you got to watch out for that. So this, I kept it like this. I could have gone and said, oh, I still got to lower it by another 1.7 on each one. But instead I said that's fine, because that's enough space for me to work with in the mastering process. So what you do, if it's going over, like say I was over by, let's just say by 6. Let's say 6. I would go down 12. Like I did here. Like you see, I started the trend. I would go right here, minus 12. I would literally type it in, minus 12. And I would go down the line, minus 12. And the only reason these are different right here is because I already had lowered those, remember? When I was trying to find the leveling. So that's the only thing that changed there. Or not lower, look, these I put higher. So that's why they're so low still in numbers. Because remember I made these louder than the beat. So that's what happened there. I started a new screen recording to make a clearer example of what I'm talking about here. So I put everything back to where it was, and it turns out I put the lead vocals, look at that, up 5 decibels. And the beat, for some reason, I put it at 1.8. I guess to try that's the leveling I was talking about, to get them matching and get them sounding right. And then I also turned the levels down in the on-screen recording program just to, so it's not going to be the same. So that's why this is like a little side, just a quick example. And look at this red spot right here. Look how it's going to start clipping. Like I said, the levels aren't going to match the actual project as you've been hearing it. So just keep that in mind. This is just for purely example of the metering. So look, you see, it's not showing the negative anymore. It's just purely over the 0 mark. It's not showing the meter yet because I haven't started playing it. I will start playing it. So just keep in mind for volume reasons. And you'll see how much it's clipping because it's all back to normal. And I'll show you how to lower it, how I did it. Look at that.
Been a long time. It's been a long time. Oh, it's been a long time since I broke out, packed up and left. Been a long time since I.
And like I said, it's louder than that in reality. I just lowered it on the screen recording program, so it's actually higher than this. I just so it could just be, you could be able to bear it as far as listening to it, but it's showing what's happening here. And look, multiple, like I told you, multiple of the clips are clipping. Look at that. This one's clipping. The beat itself is clipping. So that's the reason you don't lower it from the output. So in case it was confusing anybody, that's why you look at this. So I'm 7 over. So to get to 6, that's what I was talking about. You go down the same amount. So to get to 6, I would have to go -7 to clear this 7, and then go 6 more. So I would have to go -13. But for the sake of the session that I just did, I just went -12 for whatever reasons. And like I said, it didn't get to the -6, but I kept it anyway. And this is what you really do. You go over each one. Instead of lowering it here, I could go -12 here, right? I could easily just type it in, -12. And look what would happen. Let's see what happens. Look. You see, it technically gets to the -3, but look what I told you. Exactly as I love that the example is showing. These clips are clipping. So even though we're no longer clipping here in the overall output, the clips are still clipping. So I didn't like that. So that's why instead of doing this, I put it back to 0, I do this. I go to each individual track, -12. Boom, -12. And this is where the different numbers came in because I did some other type of leveling, for whatever reasons. So I have to account for that. I have to account for, it's still going to be -12. You just got to do a little math. 12 minus 1.6 is 10.4. So you would go to -10.4. Boom. That's where you'd go. That would be -12, right? And then right here, you'd go to, where's this? -4.6. That's that 7.4 one, right? So you would go to -7.4. That's -12 technically. And then -12 right here is obviously, -12. Or -12, excuse me. I am minusing by 12. It's just -7. And then -7. And then 1.8 right there, it would be -10.2. And then what you get when you get that, you're going to get back to that 3.7, but now look at the rest of the clips.
Been a long time. Oh, it's been a long time. Been a long time since I felt the spree.
Look at that. See, that's the reason for that. So that's why I made this little separate kind of on-screen recording just to get this example clearly through because it's very important to get to this range. Look, right now it's showing -5.5. But as we saw, it jumps up certain parts because some parts are louder than others. It jumps up to that -3.7. But like I said, that's enough space. But you still want to aim for that -6. So that's what I mean by that in case it confused anybody. So back to the normal settings and the normal ranges into the video. All right, does that make sense? So if this is clipping, you want to get this to about this level, to the -4, -5, -6 range. And you'll just hear immediately, even if you already liked it, when you do this step, you see how I didn't lower it here. I could have easily just lit it all, but no, something cleaner about just doing it individually, because you get every individual's track unclipped, because then all of them stay below. Look, you look at all of them.
Been a long time since I left.
None of them are even coming close to that red area. You see, and what I noticed that one time I put it down, just this, the output, these individuals were still hitting that red area or close to it. So I was like, no, let me just get to these. Okay? And then you get to that amount. Oh, look, it even went down to -3.7. Look at that. So obviously I just really like the way it came out. and you could get away with that. It's just like I said in the beginning, I'm gonna stick to what I said. You want to aim for -6, especially the stronger your song is. If you have a real loud song with a lot of instruments, you want to just give the mastering engineer or whoever you're gonna send it to, especially if you're sending it to me, give me as much space as I can, possibly work with. And I think there you have it. I don't know what else more I could possibly go through as far as the mix goes. What I would just say is, as far as this is, when you're done with it, is if you want to embark on the mastering journey, just know that it's a completely different process. You got to really separate your mind from mastering and mixing. So if you really want to embark, I'm not going to be those gatekeeper types, because it's like, I don't know, when I was trying to figure out mastering, it's like I couldn't find couldn't find anything until I started reading the right books and figuring it out basically on myself. And then after 15 years and so on of just trial and error, I figured it out, you know, praise God. Yeah, so this is basically how you get something from the last video, recording it, all the way to having it here, cleaning it up, adding all the plugins that it needs, leveling it out, and then leveling the beat out to wrap it around it. So this process of the vocals is just tucking those vocals into that beat. And then what we have is a track that's ready for mastering. And overall, what that totally means, as you saw in this process, is that it's ready to be taken to that bright, massive level. Now it's ready to be taken. Right now, everything is on point. The instruments are in the right place. It's wrapped around the vocal. The vocals is right where it needs to be, not too loud, not too low. It has the emphasis it needs, the right amount of depth and wideness, because it still needs to be demanding. I need to be there. So it has all these things in such a simple mix. Because if I would have streamlined this, obviously you've seen how fast I could have done it. The part that takes long is the creative part. So hope there you have it. And as I said before, once you finish this off, you want to send it to me, just bounce this bad boy. You would go right here, bounce, bada boom. And what I do is usually keep it wave, 24-bit, yup. Some people go to 48 and make it that much better, that much cleaner. I mean, to each their own. And you choose where. And there you go, man. Not too hard. A little bit of the sound you might have heard from the actual laptop speakers. So if you haven't seen the original video of the recording, I mean, you could go see that, how you can easily record damn near anywhere. I mean, you can make it ghetto fabulous if you like, but you just need that mixer, a laptop with a program on there, a mic, and some lyrics, baby, and, beat and all that. And you see how easy that is just to do it. And then this is the same exact song from that video with the same exact vocals and the same exact beat and so on and so forth. And in the future, I may do a mastering video as well, because I do have the master and I have done the master already. And for anybody that wants to learn how to master, I mean, that's something I might do in the future. But I feel like that one, I want to be really extensive with that one. It'll probably be in a more distant future. But yeah, I remember I always wanted to learn these things. I wished I would search online hoping somebody would just break it down in such a simple manner of how to get my music sounding right. Hopefully this helped anybody out on how to do these things and how to get that music sounding much more proper. To finish this video off is just a quick run through on everything, and as quick as I can do it. So the setup, which includes the naming, which includes the chopping, and all putting it all in its place. We got the plugins. Compressor put in first for the vocals. The compressor is used to calm that vocal down. That's the first thing you want to put on the vocals. Okay, you calm that vocal down, and you don't ever want to put too much of it. You don't want to smash your vocal, okay, because it is a compressor. It'll compress the living crap out of it. So you just got to picture it like your vocal being a ball of energy that's sending out too much energy, and all you're trying to do is make it more circular, if that makes any sort of sense. It's like a sun that's throwing out his light rays way too hard, man, and you're just trying to calm it down to a point where it's just this shining light that's a little controllable. I don't know. I'll just put thoughts. It's all about similar to golf. These are swing thoughts for mixing. And then the next one is going to be the EQ. This to make space for the bass, all right? And subtle things just to tuck that vocal in there. It might be a little too spiky here, maybe here, and that's all. You just go ahead and by ear, you're just listening. Reverb to obviously give it spatial awareness or just give it some, some wideness. And it already has a good amount of reverb, but I still utilized it to tuck it in there, because that's another way you could use reverb, especially when it has a little compressor built into it. And then the de-esser. You know, I'd rather use it, but I use it in this case because I felt there were some spiky moments in the vocals. So that'll definitely help out to calm that down. And then we have the ad libs, or the dubs as I call them, and they have about the same, but I only go with the compressor and the EQ. Reason why, and I think there's another thing I'm glad I mentioned that I'm going over, is that when you put in the reverb as well, now it gets way too muddy. If I were to leave that reverb, it would be very like the reverb will kind of win the battle against the instruments, and I didn't want that. I strictly want the ad libs or the dubs to come in and help. That's it. Just give emphasis to some parts, make them sound a little more like more of me is there. That's all I want from that. So you don't want no more reverb bouncing in there where it shouldn't be. And then of course the beat. The beat just has to finish wrapping itself like a web. As you can see, it's very subtle. Even with the EQ, all I did was put up, if anything. And there you go. You have a finished product that's ready to send off to mastering. So anybody that watched this, I hope you have some, awesome music that you could finally finish up or work on or take to the next level with this, and or finally get that first recording, whoever's just starting off, or if you've been recording a different way or even mixing a different way and this is a maybe more fast streamlined way, or if you have your own ways. I'm open to opinions. Like I said, this is strictly to get it ready for the mastering process. So good luck to everybody out there. Once you bounce this, be sure to contact me to finish mastering it. So I hope to talk to any of y'all who get your music mixed and let me know if that's how you did it. So this is it, signing off, and I will see you later.